Here's a look at the new Black Series George Lucas in Stormtrooper Disguise. So here is the figure on the card back that he comes on. That's correct, this Black Series figure comes on a card back instead of in the regular Black Series box. Now they've done that because this is a special figure. It's one of the 50th anniversary of Lucasfilm figures, and they've done some special packaging with some of those. Normally we only see card backs used for the Black Series if it's one of the anniversary figures, like they've done with Episode 4 and Episode 5, and like we're going to see next year with Episode 6. But in this case, because this is such a special figure, they decided to go for it here, and I think it looks okay. I'm not too big of a fan of the card backs in this scale. I think they look much better when they're a little smaller in 3.75 scale, but I'm not too upset about it. I do think for a figure like this, it would look a little weird just in a normal Black Series box, so I'm happy they at least did something special for it. If we take a look at the back of the card back, we'll see the 50th anniversary layout that we've seen on the TVC card backs, with the timeline at the bottom and a small passage about the character or figure up at the top. Now this one includes a pretty cool image of George Lucas on the set of Star Wars next to a Stormtrooper. It is a little interesting that they're showing a photo of a young George Lucas on a figure that's based off of an older Lucas, but I know they did it because he's standing next to a Stormtrooper here, so I get it. Alright, we've talked about the card back, so let's go ahead and get this thing out of the packaging. So here's a look at the figure outside of the box, and I have to say that I've been pretty excited about this one since they announced it. I pre-ordered it the day it became available on Amazon, and now, almost a year later, I'm happy to finally have it. Now, the body of this figure is just a reuse of the Stormtrooper that we saw in the first wave in these new Black Series boxes. That Stormtrooper was based off the Mandalorian, but the difference here is the head sculpt and the removable helmet. Looking up close at the head sculpt, I think they did a pretty good job with the likeness. The thing I like the most about it is the paint job on the hair. It's this really nice textured material. It doesn't just look like one flat color all over the place, and I like how it turns out. The face sculpt itself is decent, but I think everyone is more used to seeing Lucas with glasses on, so it's a little bit weird to see him without those. Now the helmet can fit onto the figure, but it is a really tight fit over the head sculpt. I feel like I'm almost about to damage the face anytime I'm taking the helmet on and off, and that does worry me. It has me thinking about what TVC has been doing recently, where instead of having removable helmets, they're having swappable headpieces, and I'm interested to see what that might look like on some 6-inch figures. Now, one thing I'm not too happy about is that the E11 blaster on this figure is not accurate. Because this is a reuse of that Stormtrooper body from The Mandalorian, that figure came with a Mandalorian E11 that has a flashlight on the side, like the rest of the Remnant Troopers. This is not a Remnant Trooper. This is just supposed to be a Stormtrooper from Episode 4, and those blasters did not have the flashlight on the side. Now, I want to do a quick comparison with that Stormtrooper that we saw released in the Black Series earlier on, because I want to point out the difference in the blaster color. Now, the George Lucas figure is on the left, and you can see that the blaster color is a little bit closer to a gray than it is the straight black color of the figure on the right. I talked about in my TVC ARC Trooper reviews that I liked that gunmetal gray color on their blasters, but I think in this case the opposite is true, and I like the black a little bit better with the Stormtroopers. While we're doing the comparison, I just want to say that I actually like how the helmet looks on the George Lucas figure a little bit better than on just the regular Stormtrooper figure, which I think is a little unexpected. The helmet on the regular Stormtrooper is not removable, so you shouldn't expect there to be a whole lot of warping on that helmet, but there actually is. More so than on the George Lucas one. It's a little frustrating, because I don't think too many people that are getting this Lucas figure are planning on keeping the helmet on. Now, I wanted to do a quick comparison of this figure right next to the Dave Filoni Trapper Wolf figure that we saw released in the Black Series just a few months ago during PulseCon. I'm really happy to have two of the iconic creators of Star Wars as figures together. And I'm excited for that Jon Favreau Paz Vizsla release as well. Having the three of them is going to be awesome. Alright, so a few final thoughts on this figure. I am very excited to have it. It's awesome to have Lucas in 6-inch scale, even if it's just a new head sculpt on a reused body. Part of me kind of wishes that we saw a younger Lucas here instead of the older one. That's something that they did on the 3.75-inch release of this figure that they did years ago. I just think that if you're gonna release a George Lucas figure based on the original trilogy, having that younger Lucas look look just fits a little bit better. That being said, I am still pleased with what we got here, and I'm excited to have the maker of this whole series as a figure. For another look at this figure, other figures, vehicles, and playsets from across the Star Wars lines, be sure to check out the Jedi Collector on Instagram. Link will be in the description.